And then let's go 3, 2, and 1. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool.
And Sean, I believe we have a guest today. We're going to be discussing an entrepreneur. We're going to share an entrepreneur. Well, we're not going to share him. He's going to share his story.
Yeah.
On building an e-com brand from scratch.
Yeah. So Drew is his name, and I met him in one of the groups I'm in. It has a bunch of e-com builders in it. So I thought be cool. Plus, he's got some other things in common with you and I.
Mm-hmm.
Army, University of Georgia. So there's no telling where this conversation might go today.
Oh, man.
Fair warning for those listening. It could end up at football, military, and all kinds of stuff. But we're going to talk to Drew today about his business, how he started from scratch, kind of what he's going through. So this is like a real world marketing case study that's like in the process of trying to apply a lot of things we talk about on the show every week. So that's the angle we're looking at here. And then at the end, we'll see if Drew wants any feedback or if we want to poke holes in anything he's doing. He's a big boy. I think he can take that. So
it might not be anything. He may be schooling us.
He might be. He's out there doing it in the real world, trying to turn my light on here. It's getting dark already. I see it's already dark in your neck of the woods, or getting there quick.
Well, it's been dreary and rainy all week, so we've not seen sunshine since last weekend.
I mean, it's been dark in Knoxville since they played the Dogs.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Dang, I'm always late to that.
That's all right. I'm just quick. I just throw them out so quick. So, all right, let me read Drew's, because I know Drew has a beverage. So I want to read his bio and then we will bring him on. So make sure you have the crowd ready to go there, Jonathan.
Okay.
Drew Camp is a dad of 3, combat veteran, and the founder of the Epic Dad Company. And like any good military guy, he's got an acronym for that, TEDCO. TEDCO is a supplement company that has a mission of changing the culture by creating more epic dads. Founded in 2021, TEDCO creates 100% natural supplements that help dads become better athletes, leaders, and providers. TEDCO believes that the best way to change the culture is to change yourself first. Drew also runs the Epic Dad Legacy podcast. So welcome to the show, Drew Camp.
Sean, Jonathan, thank you guys for having me on.
Yes.
Yeah, quite the intro there. Appreciate it.
Ovation.
Hey, you did a good job writing that bio. Thank you, sir. Made our job easy. All right. So before we get started, we're rolling into our beers, but I just wanted to remind everybody, it is the holiday season, and this episode is sponsored by the Original Craft Beer Club. It's a delivery service. You can send people beers of all kinds, craft beers. Just if you want to learn more about it, persuasionbythepint.com/craft beer.
Great holiday gift.
Or a business gift or whatever else. So That's all we're going to say about that. So
that's right. Now we're going to enjoy our own beers. They're not part of the craft beer club. But
no, they're not. These were, I don't know where you got yours. I got mine at Total Wine today.
Yep.
Went down there. But we always let our guests go first. So Drew, what do you have over there? And tell us where you're enjoying your beer.
So I'm enjoying my beer a little bit north of Atlanta, Georgia. So you guys mentioned I'm a Dogs fan. So I actually got my beer from Publix. My wife is out of town, and I'm dragging all 3 little kids around. So we took a trip into Publix with screaming kids.
Nice.
And I got a from your neck of the woods, Sean, for Creature Comforts. So I got their Athena Paradiso, which is a ghost, however you pronounce that, which is sour. So I used to be a pretty big craft beer guy. So I went to University of Georgia for grad school, and one of the classes was entrepreneurship class. And we actually my group chose to do a craft brewery as our topic in our business we wanted to explore. And that started doing deep dives into the world of craft beer and got to go do a bunch of tours and got to tour Creature Comforts. And we actually were looking at potentially launching a brewery in Swanee, Georgia, if you know where that's at.
Oh, yeah. Falcons training camp back in the day.
That's right. And we were actually looking at a building. We were kind of getting that far. just me and a business partner, and then the numbers just scared us away. You know, it was going to be about a mil and a half just to get going. You know,
Sure.
and so it just chose not to. But that kind of started my passion for craft beer, and then I've been drinking it for a long time. But then we were kind of talking before we hopped on here that I've been on a bit of a health kick lately, and watching my calories and carbs. So I don't drink it as often as I used to, but I enjoy a nice beer. So
Wait till those kids are teenagers. You'll be back.
right, yeah. So I'll pop this one open and give it a taste here.
Creature
Hold the
Creature
taste.
Comforts, are those guys? Those guys are in Athens.
Correct.
They're
Yep.
based-
Yeah. Right downtown. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
cool.
I've heard them. Their sponsor on another podcast I listen to that is it's a dogs related podcast.
Yeah, they have a Tropicalia is their their big one. It's just a like citrusy IPA, which I've
Mhm.
heard you guys kind of IPAs. I'm not sure what you think about those, but
Yeah.
but it's a decent beer. But let's
Yeah.
give this one a shot.
You're going to review it at
Easy,
the end.
man, easy.
We'll don't
We
tell
got
us
a
the
toast
score
first.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'm
He's
just
going
chugging
in.
it. I brought a
Kelly
sixer.
hadn't had a beer in a while. All right, so Jonathan, what you have over there?
Returning guest is a Kentucky bourbon barrel.
Okay,
So let me pull up there because I
we're
did
in the
put 'em-
same line of thinking today.
This is a. Let me switch over here. This is a bourbon barrel peppermint porter.
Christmassy.
Christmassy. Yeah. So you only get this one time a year. It is just the right amount of chocolate and peppermint, bourbon barrel aged porter that is the perfect complement to a warm fire. Notes of bourbon and toffee complement the roasted malts in this brew, and the result is a peppermint patty cocktail in your glass.
There you go. Nice thing about
Perfect.
Kentucky bourbon barrel stuff is you can get those just about anywhere in the country. So that's
right.
It's a nice for those people listening.
Oh yeah. Yeah. they're
Another
everywhere.
national one that we have. Wait, I got to change my camera. Hold on, because this is very on this beer. Hold on. All right. So my beer today
Uh-oh.
is the Brooklyn Black Ops beer.
Man, look at that.
All right. So here's the
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn Black Ops is a legend. We can neither confirm nor deny its existence. However, if it did exist, it would be a robust stout originally concocted by the Brooklyn Brewing team under the cover of secrecy and hidden from everyone else at the brewery. Supposedly, this vintage of Black Ops is aged for months in Four Roses, small batch bourbon barrels. Such a beer would combine big chocolate and coffee notes with a rich underpinning of vanilla-like oak. Is Black Ops real? We can't say, but we think you'll love it. So,
Do you like black or Four Roses, Drew?
I
You're a
do.
bourbon-
Yeah, I'm a bourbon guy. If you guys can see behind me, I got quite the stash back there.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a
So
big bourbon guy.
See a little Woodford. I
Yeah,
I
there's
picked that
some
one up.
Woodford.
Yeah.
I think my go-to, just because it's cheap and it's decent, is just Bullet. You know,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go spend $40 and just have a decent one,
Mhm.
But I really like Angel's Envy, which is another good one. That's not too high price, probably $80-$90 a bottle or so. And then there's a local distillery in Atlanta. Let me try to think of the name of it. It's Atlanta Spirit Works, ASW. And they make a fantastic rye that I'm usually stocked up on. So
yeah, there's quite a few. There's a whole distillery scene right out here close to where I'm at in Austin, in Dripping Springs. It's got some good stuff coming out of it. But yeah, so I forgot to say mine's 11.5% alcohol, so pretty heavy.
Oh man.
We'll see if it tastes like cough syrup or not. So
And
I think
mine's
Brooklyn-
8.2.
I would say, Jonathan, on yours. So my daughter's name is actually Porter. So that's how big
really?
I got into the
Wow.
craft scene.
does she know she's
Nice.
named after a type of beer?
She does.
Okay.
She should be.
Does she
proud.
understand that yet?
She will one
right.
day.
All right. Well, let's cheers it up, and then we'll give them a rating, and then we'll be on with the
Cheers.
show.
Whoops.
Wow.
Oh man. All right, Drew. We let our guests go first on a 1 to 5 pint scale. Five being the ultimate. And keep in mind, 5. There's only a few 5s out there.
In 3
There's
years,
not
we've
that
only
many.
had
You
4
don't
years.
give those out liberally.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not a 5. I'd probably give it maybe a 3.2 or so. So kind of middle of the road. They label it as a German style tart wheat ale with coriander and natural flavors. And the tasting notes are pineapple, lemon, salt, and coriander.
Coriander. I'm trying
And
to remember
I definitely,
what coriander tastes like.
yeah, I don't know.
Just trying to refresh my memory on coriander.
But it's not bad. It's tart for sure, which I like. You know, I like sours. But it's got the sweetness of the pineapple kind of as the aftertaste. So it's a unique combination. Very drinkable in the summer. Definitely not a wintertime beer. But I can see myself having 3 or 4 of these on the beach, in the summer.
So your score is decimals are fine.
Yeah, 3.2.
3.2.
Got it. All right.
Yep.
All right, Jonathan.
Just an average. I'm going to give this one. I know I had this one on last year, probably around the same time. But those ratings don't mean anything. Everything's,
Subjective
every
to-
rating is within, it just is in itself on
There's
every
no
show. So
time is a construct.
that's right.
It is what it is right now.
We're allowed a little flexibility, and what we determined is good and bad. I'm going to say this one is a 3.9 on this episode. Tastes a little flat this time. So
Okay. Maybe it's that workout. Maybe the endorphins are messing it up.
It could be.
Yeah, who
And
knows?
it didn't get to sit in the fridge very long, so that may have something to do with it.
Yes.
I do notice it does taste like a peppermint patty, though, and I'm
Oh.
sure I've mentioned this previously when I had it before. But it tastes like, if you've ever had one of those little peppermint patties, it tastes like it's got that aftertaste to it.
Or an
So,
Andy's Mint.
Yeah.
Either one of those. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, mine like kicked me in the face when I first drank it. Like it's got at 11.5%, it's got that alcohol taste, but after a few sips, it's calming down. It's getting better, airing out a little bit.
Yeah. Wish I had that sound effect of somebody getting kicked in the face. I'll have to add that one.
That's probably one of Drew's kids in the background.
Yeah. There's 7 children in my house right now.
So yeah, I'm gonna give this like a 3.9 as well.
Yeah.
In that range.
That's
I
right.
have a feeling it'll get better as I go, because it'll probably kill my taste buds at some point. So I think it'll get better.
Awesome.
So yeah, 3.9.
Drew, by the way, Sean and I, we've got older kids, so we completely understand if you have to break away for any reason, if somebody's like,
Oh, good. I got the 6-year-old in charge, so
okay,
we
good.
should be
All
fine.
right, well,
Yeah, she's just sprinkling puffs around for the baby, So.
Yeah,
that
as
makes
long
us
as-
feel better that a 6-year-old's in charge.
exactly. Sounds like the federal government.
Exactly. All
right.
right, definitely gets it.
Yeah, that should get like a savage, type
yeah,
sound effect. We need one of those. All right, well, let's roll into this. Drew, thanks for being on. Thanks for putting up with us so far. It just gets worse from here. But you tell us about kind of your journey. You already mentioned a little bit. You got the entrepreneurial bug while you were in graduate school and doing the brewery thing, or thinking about doing the brewery thing, until you found out how much stainless steel equipment costs.
Yeah.
How old are you, by the way? Just curious.
I am 36 years young.
Okay,
cool.
Yeah, just a babe, just a pup. I've got a son that's 28, so yeah, it does feel wow. Yeah, so tell us about your journey and how you ended up and landed with the Epic Dad Company, and then we'll get into kind of what you've done to grow it so far.
Yeah, for sure. So, as you just heard, I was in the Army prior, so I know you guys are both Army guys as well. So I'm sure we can chat about that a little bit too. But
What was your MOS?
I was 11 Bravo.
Awesome.
So I was a infantry paratrooper.
I got my tank tread bracelet.
Oh, sweet. Did you get that from Hero?
Yeah, from Hero.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome,
I was 11 Bravo, was with the 82nd. So just got to jump out of planes and blow stuff up, which was awesome. Good experience. Got to deploy.
Yeah.
But then when I got out, just went to work in the corporate space. So I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Went to school prior to the Army as a marketing grad. Enjoyed marketing, but didn't really know what to do with it. So I got a job at a consulting firm, one of the top consulting firms.
Sure.
It was a good experience. And then same thing there, was kind of like, well, this is nice, but I don't really feel like I'm having an impact, at least for what I want to do. And I was in government consulting too, so it just kind of like, ugh.
Right.
And I vividly remember I was writing a hurricane relief grant And it just hit me. I was like, what am I doing right now? You know, and so, so that kind of prompted another career shift and,
giving more money out. Yeah. That's what, it's like, wow,
yeah.
what am I doing? Like just
Yeah,
giving out millions of dollars.
Yeah. I mean, we're, like we got brought in to basically act as like the business arm for like these 3-letter agencies and, try to say like, hey, how can you more effectively use the funding that you're going to get? And then how can you pitch for more funding and stuff like that? And, learned a lot like with the consulting firm around communication and strategy, things like that, but ultimately not really, what I wanted to do.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I moved into in industry, and started flexing, a little bit of business skills more than I was at the consulting firm. And then went back to school, and studied marketing strategy, for my MBA. And so have always been like a marketing guy and have always studied it. I just haven't really applied it. Right. I'm like, I love doing this, but I've just never had experience doing it. It's just been all in an educational setting. And so I cut my teeth first in entrepreneurship with an outdoor adventure brand. And this was right at the tail end of grad school. I started this. And we brought on a couple of products. One was a hands-free dog leash. The other was like a collapsible water bottle for hiking. And, made a splash. We did okay with it. But then when COVID hit, all of our manufacturing got completely shut down. We outsourcing everything from China. Supply chain was just a wreck. And at that point in time, it was kind of a decision for me of like, okay, we've had some success with this, but I don't really know who my audience is and who I'm serving. I'm just, hoping somebody buys my product. And, with most of our sales coming from Amazon.com, that made it even worse, right? Of like, I don't even know who's buying this stuff, And so when I was thinking like, okay, do I try to force this brand and come up with an audience that I'm trying to serve? Or do I take some of those lessons learned and actually apply it to something that I care about, in an audience, that I know really well?
Right.
And so that's what I did was I took whatever profits we had from that business, and just sat down and thought for about 6 months, about what's important to me. What do I not mind talking about every day for the next 5 to 6 years? And really like, where do I think my value and my skill set can provide value to the marketplace? And came up with dads and fitness, was the two things that I really like doing. And so, founded the Epic Dad Company, had no idea what I was going to do with it. Just knew that I wanted to serve that audience, to be a better dad. And then about 6 to 7 months in, after doing interviews and things like that, we decided to come up with a line of nutritional supplements, to help dads along their fitness, and personal development journey. And so that's what we've been doing ever since. And we've got one product out, and looking to launch 2 or 3 this next year. And it's been a good experience, and I'm super passionate about the mission of it. Because ultimately, we see our culture degrading, and you guys may agree or disagree. But the culture is much different than it has, it was 40 years ago. And whether that's intentional or not intentional, there's just things going on, that I think us as dads need to step up and be better leaders for our family. That's going to actually create the change in the culture that we want. And so that's kind of what we do, right? And our tagline, well, not tagline, but just the framework for the business is that we help dads become better athletes, leaders, and providers by creating world-class supplements, coaching, and apparel, that fall within the 4 pillars of body, mind, relationships, and financials. And so that's kind of the structure of the business. And it's still very early on. Like I said, we've got one product, and we've just been building an audience right now. But now it's time to one, convert that audience that we do have, but then think about, okay, how do we go out to the marketplace to attract new customers when we're not just pitching our brand, but we're pitching our products that we have. Right. And so that's been the struggle for us, is like, how do we bridge that gap between this broad overarching mission and then like the actual products that we provide. So kind of long-winded there, but you guys are up to speed.
Telling a story. Yeah. It's interesting you say that. I was having a video conference with a VP of sales with a company earlier today. And during the call, he told me, and this is not an older guy, but he said, I'm going to have to get off the call a little bit early. He said, my brother just had a massive heart attack.
Jeez.
And he said, he's only 49 years old, a young guy. I mean, it's like not old, but it's not young, but it's not at an age where you expect somebody to be suffering from a massive heart attack. And he said, yeah, this guy's up in Minneapolis, and he said, we're gonna have to cut out of here right after this call and head up to Minneapolis because he's in the hospital. Guy at 49 years old with a family, so it's just say that, it's importance of lifestyle changes for everyone, especially, guys out there need to keep themselves in the best shape possible, if not for themselves, but the people that they're providing for, right?
Yeah. I mean, when the airplane is going down, right, they tell you to put your mask on first, right? And that's kind of our approach is, if you want to give 100% to your family, like you need to put you first.
Yeah.
And your mental state, your physical state, your spiritual state, like you need to get all that aligned so that you can be there for your family 100%. And so that may take away from some time from your family, but when you're there, you're more present, you're more engaged.
Yeah.
And you're a much better dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about, like, you were in marketing in school. I'm curious, like, what you've had to unlearn from what you were taught in school. Cause I dropped out of, I flunked out of college at the University of Georgia. That was the last school I went to. So that's what I claim. But, so I'm curious what you've had to unlearn as you grow this business and start this business. Then we'll get into kind of some of what you've actually been doing on the ground. But what have you had to unlearn so far when it comes to marketing?
I think the only thing I remember from undergrad and graduate school is the 4 Ps of marketing. I think that's what all the money went towards.
Which are what? Which are what for those?
Product, place, price, and promotion.
Okay,
are the 4 Ps of marketing. And like, that's great, right? Like, it's important. But ultimately there's a lot more to marketing than that. And what I've had to really unlearn is really that, you have to be so flexible, I think, in today's environment with social media, and everything that, yes, there are some solid like frameworks that you can use, but you just got to be a lot more flexible, I think, than what they teach, in business school. And honestly, like, what I got out of business school was good relationships.
Yep.
And, that helped set up my career. But outside of that, like, I don't remember anything. It's all on the job learning.
Read a bunch of case studies, right? I mean, from like big brands out there. I mean,
and it is, right? Like all the case studies that we do are, these $100 million brands, right? That can't shift that fast and can't, position themselves that way. And so, it's nice to learn that, right? Like, there is a solid foundation that I probably got now.
Sure.
But everything that I've learned that's been, that I've executed on in actual business, has been from learning from books, right? And kind of personal development. And so just dissecting into copywriting or, building sales letters, building landing pages, social media marketing, et cetera, has really just been one of the books that I can consume, outside of a school setting. For people that have actually done it. I feel like that's something we have in academia as well, is a lot of my professors. I feel like they were, that's all they've done is be a professor. And I'm like, all right, well, where's your experience doing this?
Right. Right. Those that can't teach, right? I mean, that's the way it goes. Well, I'm curious, what are some of the books that really have been the foundation?
So
business?
I think, I don't know how you guys feel about the guy and his platform and all that stuff, but Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels has been a good one. His series that he has on it's the expert books. I don't remember the titles of all of them, but Expert Secrets and Traffic and all kinds of stuff.
It was .com Secrets. Expert
that was
Secrets,
the first one.
Traffic Secrets.
That was the first one. So those I constantly find myself kind of, I've got all 3 of them right back there highlighted. Especially as you're thinking about what I'm doing. It's kind of building a personal brand too alongside it. Like, I am the face of the brand. And so I'm thinking about what are those things that I can use to, be an attractive character, like to have a rallying cause and things like that, right? That's going to build up the personal side of the business too.
Yep.
So I'd say those 3 have been pretty foundational. Let's see. Influence. I forget the author's name. Yeah. Has been a really good one.
Great book. Yeah.
That's a great one.
That's Jonathan's favorite.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
All-time favorite.
And then there's one that's The Perfect Sales Letter, I think, by Dan Kennedy.
Yeah.
Um,
Ultimate Sales Letter.
The Ultimate Sales Letter. Yep. That one. There's probably a couple more. It's like business related books that I go back. Well, so a big one for me has been Hormozy, who's like blown up all of a sudden.
The $100 million offer.
Yeah, that's a great book.
Yeah.
Just really helped me think about like how I'm crafting an offer, and I'm sure we'll dive into it. And Sean, I know we've talked about it a little bit before too. Is like, how do I take that same framework of, one, building up the value as much as I can on the top half of that equation, and then on the bottom half, how do I, build in guarantees and like the at least from the customer's perspective, like they're going to get this result, but how do I take that and flip it and use that for a product, right? Has been the tough thing for me.
Yeah, because a lot of I think we had this conversation in a Facebook thread, Drew, that like a lot of the copywriting insights and things out there seem to be geared a little bit more towards, especially direct response, seem to be geared a little bit more towards service and information products. But like I told you and some of the other people in the group, it's like actually if you go back to Claude Hopkins and some of the original guys from the 20s and even before that, they were all doing products. There was no information marketing and really service businesses back then that were using direct response. But over the last 20 or 30 years, it's all been about information marketing, because that was the that was the thing since the 80s, 90s was like information marketing. And there's been this resurgence. Like only big brands had physical products. But now those barriers to entry with white label and a lot of other things have been just, pretty much demolished, and you can start a brand of any kind of product you want, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of these principles that we talk about, they seem like they're just for information market, but if you really sit down and look at the principles, not the tactics, then you see how they apply to physical products as well. Like you're talking about, having a character, having a good offer, bundles, all that kind of stuff. And you're in a tough spot right now, right? Because you got one product.
Yeah, it's hard to do an upsell, or a cross sell when you got one of something.
Yeah, but it's proven in the supplement market, it's nothing has beat multiple units of the same product in the original funnel. Like that's been working for 10, 15 years now. Is to just sell more of the same thing once people buy it. Pre-workout's a little tricky, right? Because it's got a little bit of a shelf life. If it sits in your cabinet too long, it can get lumpy or that kind of stuff. But you do have some gear as well, which I think there's some opportunities there for you to package up T-shirts with.
Yeah, and we've got like information stuff, right? Like I just kind of put out, on our Instagram channel, we've got a awesome 9-week strength training program that we've got out there for free, as kind of an upsell offering as well. And a lot of these like assets that I think I can use that I'm just not right now.
Yeah. What's I want to jump into problem solving, but I want to hear a little bit more about your story and kind of stuff like that.
Yeah. I'd be curious. Like, so what is you've got the one product, obviously. So outside of that, what's the vision from that point on in terms of, other products or, So
the vision really is, we want to be the premier supplement company for dads. And so like if a dad, if a dad raises his hand and says, I want to go on the transition or the transformation of becoming a better father, like we want that to be us, like that they go to.
Okay.
And so we've got a line of products kind of built out, and some are in sampling in different stages that we'll launch once we feel like we're at the scale that we want to be with the first one, which is the pre-workout right there.
Can you talk? I'm just curious. I want to stop you there for a second for like people, because I find this fascinating. What's like the process for, getting a product approved? Obviously, you got to be FDA. All these barriers.
So FDA, no, you don't. Not with supplements.
Okay.
So that's a barrier that you don't have to. But it's still a process. If you want to do it right, it's a process.
Yeah.
So
can you give us a kind of an overview of what that's like? Because people are like, okay, I've got this idea for a product, and if it's supplement related or if it's workout related, how do I go about from concept to getting it on the shelf or getting it into somebody's.
I'll walk you guys through. Yeah, I'll walk you guys through my journey that I took, and I've tried to do a good job of documenting all this on social media as well. So people that are following along can feel like they're invested in the brand. Want to see success. I've had a hand in that. Like I said, we had the concept of, okay, we want to have, supplements, right? We want to do that.
Right.
And so we thought about, okay, hey, what's the first supplement we could have? And really what's the first like step you need to take on that journey to personal development is really around fitness, because fitness is like the gateway drug to personal excellence, in my opinion. If you get your body right, like you're going to get your mind right, get your family right, et cetera. And it's like the easiest one to attack because you have direct control over it. So that's what we decided. We said, okay, hey, pre-workout, let's go with that. And we want it to be all natural because we feel like that's going to be important for our audience as men start to age. They're in that mid 30s, mid 40s. Like it's more important, to be mindful of what you're putting in your body. So we had the concept
of raw liver.
Yeah, like Liver King, all natural. That video is so funny. By the way, I saw this meme. You can totally off topic here, but
sorry, I just had to be. We gotta interject a little humor every now.
It's timely, so let's talk.
I saw this meme of the Liver King. Where can I curse on this podcast?
Yes.
All right,
sure.
That video, he's like, all right, man or gentlemen, I fucked up, blah, 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 I got to be a better human. And the meme was like me to my wife, like once a month about trash week. It's like, forget to take the trash out of the curb. Like, I immediately sent it to my wife. But,
I tell you though, you talk about an attractive character, which he kind of built. And that was the whole, kind of point of this last year with him. Like, I am amazed at the loyalty he's gotten from his followers on Instagram, and like I've been watching the numbers since all this broke, and they did not move. Like,
really, I figured it would tank, but
they have not moved. So
they bought in.
That shows a lot about the power of a personal, an attractive character. So yeah, it'll be interesting, how things go with sales and things like that down the road. But anyway, go back to your.
So we decided we want to be all natural. And so really what I did was like, I bought like 40 pre-workouts, and tried them all, like, hey, what do I like? What do I not like? Right. What's natural? What ingredients, mix do I like? What do I not like? And then I just went on Amazon and ordered, bulk ingredients of about like 30 to 40 different ingredients. And it looked like a science lab in my kitchen.
Wow.
And I mix, a little bit of creatine here, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. And of course,
dude, my 18-year-old son would love talking with you because I mean, he's a workout freak right now. He's a gym rat. And that's all he does is like order pre-workouts, and he's always looking at, he's looking at, he's buying creatine and all of this stuff, it's just he's like, it's a science to him. He's fascinated because that's how his mind works. It's like chemistry.
It's really cool. Like I literally knew nothing about the industry at all. And I was like, all right, we're making the best one. I was like, but I don't know anything about it. So that's like where I started. Right. And if you go to our Instagram page and like the first little bubble, like you can watch the stories, over and over again or whatever, the saved ones, like watch that. And it'll show the whole journey of like, that one right there, Tedco pre-workout. It'll show me like literally mixing stuff up in my kitchen,
That's awesome.
And like waiting on samples from yeah, there it is. Like mixing stuff up.
That's cool. That's awesome.
So if you're listening on the podcast, you go to YouTube, to our channel, you can see this episode. You can see Drew mixing stuff up, or you can just go to his Instagram at theepicdadco.com. So,
and of course, buy an RV lab, like Walter White. You could be like the Heisenberg of. I'm just kidding.
That could be a fun skit to do on Instagram or TikTok.
That would be pretty good.
One.
Put you a little yellow suit on.
How we got started. Yeah.
No, but going back, I want to hear this. I don't want to keep interrupting.
No, you're good. You're good. So, and then also did a ton of research, right? Articles like, hey, what makes a good pre-workout? What needs to be in there? What are the staples, et cetera?
Right.
And so, started mixing formulations together. It took about 2 months or so to feel like I've got it dialed in. And that was just on what I think the actual like effect is going to be, not on taste. Because all those stuff mixed together tastes terrible. It was like, but just like, what do I feel like? Right.
Yeah.
And then I felt like I had it pretty dialed in then. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me try to find somebody that can make this for me and actually make it taste decent. And so, yeah, I mean, simple Google search and like, thankfully Atlanta is pretty well known for, sorry, cut that off. That's my wife, FaceTiming me. Pretty well known for supplements.
She's from what? Where's she? She's vacationing where again?
She
now?
is
She's
Hilton Head.
Hilton Head.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
she's
Okay,
probably on the
ignore
beach.
that one.
Checking on
So
the
this is-
kids.
this is
Fine,
why
there's
he's the
6-year-olds
epic-
watching them.
Yeah, this is why he's the epic dad and not the
That's
epic
right.
husband brand, because he just threw his wife to the side. when
Yeah,
she
let me
called.
right.
just say, hey, on a podcast, I'll call you right back.
You better handle that. That's probably good.
She isn't Hilton Head. I mean,
Tell her to
But,
go sit with a sea turtle, and you'll be with her in a minute.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, thankfully Atlanta, where I'm at, is kind of known for having a lot of manufacturers. And so I started contacting, 4, 5, 6 of them. And, not a lot of them would work with me, just because I'm looking for small order quantity, right? To initially get started. I'm like, hey, I don't want to drop, $70,000, like, on the first run or anything. We don't even know if it's going to work. So
Coward. You're a coward.
it's a calculated risk.
coward.
So we found one that was pretty reputable. Went and took a tour. They worked up some samples for us, and we went through about 4 to 5 iterations on samples, and we sent some out to our audience that had been following us to taste it, like let us know what they think. And then that took about another 2 months or so to dial in the flavoring and all that kind of stuff. And then from there. Yeah, it was a long process.
I mean, so you're talking
make
about
sure we get it right.
what, a 6-month process? I mean, from
like the idea to actually having a product in front of me was about 9 months. Yeah,
9 months. Wow.
And then we went through that phase, and then had to get labels created, all the design work and stuff like that. And then about 9 months later, had about 250 bottles of each sitting in my kitchen. So
that's awesome.
And then now it was all right. Let's figure out how to sell these.
So what's fulfillment like? I mean, does that go through a third party? Do you have a third party fulfillment center, or
I leverage Amazon for about half the business, through their what's called FBA, Fulfilled by Amazon, where you store it in a warehouse location. They'll pick, pack, and ship it. But there's a lot of fees with that. So it gets pretty costly. So if your margins aren't great, like, it's going to be a pretty big hit for you. And then the other half I fulfill myself. So I've got product here, and I probably need to resource a 3PL sometime in the near future to get that off my plate. But I kind of like owning that part, to be honest with you, though, just because I'm kind of a control freak, and I want everything to be perfect. And I know if I do it, it's going to be great, and it's going to have my touch on it. And outsourcing that kind of scares me, but I know, like, operationally, there's probably more important things I can be doing than bagging up product,
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you'll have to make that switch. But I actually grew up. My dad had a tea business where he made tea concentrate when I was probably 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade in those 3 or 4 years. And that's one of my jobs. I worked we actually had a big building with a big stainless steel pot. So instead of craft brew, it was iced tea, sweet tea, right out in Athens, Georgia. And every day after school, that's where I was, and all summer long, like packing, packing little quart jugs of concentrated iced tea and shipping them out to restaurants and grocery stores and all that kind of stuff. So, you're doing that in your dining room or your garage or wherever.
It's fun. Like I bring, I feel like I'm fairly decent at email marketing. I feel like that's kind of my zone of genius. If I can get people, in with the brand, I can develop a relationship through email. Yeah. And so, like, the very first email, somebody orders on our website, is like, hey, thanks for your order. Like, my kids are packing it up right now. Like, don't worry about the glitter. That's just my girls. And trying to, like, bring some of that humor, in a relationship with the customer.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit. So you could have gone a million different ways with branding, and voice and tone, being a military guy, like, you could have gone that route, but obviously you're a dad, but you're a dad of girls. But where did the humor idea come from? I'm curious about it. You do have a lot of humor. You've got memes on your Instagram. Yeah. You're a little snarky
I think
in your stuff. So, like,
ultimately, right? Like, I feel like we have a very serious mission. And the mission, just when you look at the stats of some of the stuff around fatherhood in our country, it's terrible. Like, you used to look at the stats of like children without a father. It's like homelessness is up, like crime is up. It's all this stuff that's terrible. And so like, that's what we want to do. Like we want to create better dads, like to change those statistics. Right. But ultimately, if I'm putting that out in the interwebs, like that's a sad stop story that like not a lot of people are going to engage with. And so I like to lead with humor because that's something that people can, and they can they can engage with and get a bunch of social interaction there and kind of get some buy-in. And then if I can get them on my email list, then I start to transition a little bit over time of like, hey, we do have some humor, but ultimately like we're trying to do something much bigger than like what's on, a front end Instagram page.
Yeah. So you could have gone the ASPCA route with the Sarah McLachlan song, and fathers, these sad little girls with no father.
Yeah.
Like,
that would be a great one. I should do that.
Yeah. And you could certainly do a parody of it. That'd be fun. Well, that's the thing these days. I mean, like, such a shift from probably what you learned in school about marketing these big brands with their kind of buttoned up approach.
Yeah, don't ever offend
branding.
anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, I mean, you're kind of going in and you got all kinds of different things. You show yourself working out. You show some crazy pictures. I mean, I'm kind of scrolling through your Instagram here. I mean, you got all kinds of memes and your kids. Some military stuff. Like you've got I think a good cross section. And I tell you what I found, in my coaching business, when I was doing copywriting as well, like it really is true. Like people buy from people that either they feel like are like them or they want to be like. So I think you putting yourself out there and you being a guy that somebody wants to be like is a really powerful way to promote your brand.
Yep.
It's uncomfortable. I'll tell you that.
I bet. Yeah.
And that's where I struggle with as well, right? Is when I look at other brands, supplement brands in the industry that are where I want to be, right? Like they're doing 20 million a year.
Yeah.
It's product. And I'm like, well, shit, whenever whenever
stock photos.
Yeah. But it's like, whenever I do a post like that, it's like 5 likes, whenever I do something that's like in our wheelhouse, whether it's through humor or just like, dad stuff, like we get incredible engagement. But that's where like the gap is, right? I'm like, okay, people like me and they like the brand, but like, how do I sell product?
Yeah. So, right. Let's talk about that a little bit. Like, what are your, like, if you want to, I know some of this stuff is like private, but if you want to share some like numbers and kind of where you're at volume wise, and I know you were packing a ton of inserts the other day, so you're obviously doing enough to.
Oh my God, that's a nightmare. We can talk about that one too.
Part of fulfillment. Yeah, you were, and I've had days like that. I remember one summer, talking about the tea business with my dad. We had a 15 passenger, like a passenger van, like the old passenger van, not like a nice Sprinter van these days, right? The old Dodge 15 passenger van. With no seats in it. It was stacked full of stuff. And we went to every Piggly Wiggly grocery store in South Carolina and Georgia one summer, just personally stocked the shelves because he made a deal with Piggly Wiggly to get in their stores. For those who don't know, Piggly Wiggly was a grocery store, and that was the real name of the grocery store.
There's one that exists still in North Georgia.
So yeah, like that kind of hustle. That's what you're doing. You're just doing it in a little bit different environment, but yeah, tell us kind of about where you're at in the process with sales, or what, as much as you want to reveal, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. So we're doing pretty low volume right now, and part of that is intentional. Part of it is not intentional. And I'll say intentional because we have not a lot of inventory.
Okay.
So I'm not running ads. Everything has been organic, kind of word of mouth. I may do an ad test just to kind of see if something converts, but I'm not trying to run anything at scale yet, just because we don't have the inventory to support it.
Is it subscription based right now?
So we have subscription available on the website, and we've got some people that opt into that, which is awesome.
Sure.
It's super cool to see people come back like over and over. You recognize the names and things like that. It's really cool. And then obviously you can't subscribe on Amazon yet. I don't know what's going on with that, but you should be able to, but you can't. I got to figure that out. Okay. But yeah, I mean, volume wise, like we'll be between like $10,000 to $15,000 this year. It's like super small.
Mhm.
But again, that's all based off of just 500 units initially that we probably gave away 200,
Right. Right.
just to influencers and things like that to drive awareness. So what we're at right now is like, okay, I feel like we've got a very solid foundation. Like we know what the brand is, what it stands for. We know where we're going. And we've got a great audience of people that resonate with the brand. And we've got a great product, like a fantastic product. Like I will stack
Sure.
our pre-workout up against like anyone in the
Anything.
industry. Yeah.
Well, you've done the research. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
put in
and-
the, I mean, I mean, you just testified that, I mean, you tested like how many again?
Yeah. About 30, 40 pre-workouts. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, so, I mean,
And-
I would trust you in a heartbeat. I mean, if I'm getting pre-workout, you're the guy.
Yeah, and tell us some of the formula you ended up with and why you ended up with that. Because you and I have talked a little bit about this. Some of the ingredients in it.
Yeah.
Talk about kind of why you
Yeah,
ended
for
up.
sure. So it's seven natural ingredients that are active, and then there's a little bit of like to help with flavoring that's all still natural. But the 7 ingredients are yeah, there you go. So there's 6 grams of let's see. I'm pull. I just want to make sure I don't
Yeah.
I get all the things right here.
It's a little small to see on my screen. So
Yeah, pull it up here. So there's 6 grams of BCAAs, which that honestly just helps you stay hydrated in the gym, right? So you're working out, you burn a lot of electrolytes, so that's going to help out. So you have that in a lot of like recovery drinks as well.
Yeah.
But as you're going through like an intense workout, BCAAs are going to help you, go a little bit longer. We've got 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, which is a really big differentiator for us.
yeah,
So anybody that knows about lifting is going to know about creatine. And creatine is one of the most studied supplements of all time, one of the safest supplements of all time. But you typically see it in its own form, just like creatine monohydrate supplement, right? And so what we do is we like to go ahead and put it in here so you don't have to have an additional one, right? So if you're working out every day, or if you're working out 3-4 times a day, you can go ahead and have that creatine, in your system, which is great. And then let me pull a tub up.
Yeah, because I pay out the wazoo for a product called I probably shouldn't mention it on here, but it's it was it CR.
it's not C4, is it?
Huh?
It's not C4.
It's like CR5. I don't
Oh.
know. It comes in a little black container, and I go to GNC and they charge me like $1,000 for it. It feels like it. But I, don't know.
I love that you, and I think that's important from a marketing standpoint. For those listening, like you had some things that you wanted to provide to the market that you saw as a gap, because you work out yourself. Was any of that feedback from the market, or was that just something that you personally wanted, or creatine? Because that is a big missing piece. Like you do have to have, a scoop of creatine over here, and a scoop of this over here, and a scoop of this over here, and
yeah, that was also something I put in there just because I wanted it.
Yeah.
And then we got great feedback from the market on it. So
yeah, I love that.
Because most pre-workouts don't have. I mean, they don't have the creatine in there. Right?
No, they don't. You'll find some that do. So Gorilla Mind,
it's so small that it's just like to be able to say it's
right.
Yeah, it's a differentiator for sure. Because like I said, traditionally you're going to have a pre-workout if you want to do that, and then you're going to have like a creatine HMB type supplement that you would take, on your off days. That you're just going to help recover and build that
yours
muscle
is like
mass.
a full clinical dose, right? Like 5
it is,
grams.
yeah. So it's 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, which is the clinical dose that you need. Typically, you'll get maybe 2 from meats that you eat, a day, but really to build muscle mass and keep that muscle mass and keep your strength, like creatine is going to be, awesome. And you need to be getting at least 5 grams a day. So we just make sure, hey, let's go ahead and put that in there for you.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
And then we've got citrulline malate, which is going to help with the blood vessels, really get the blood flowing during your workout. We've got beta alanine, which has a similar thing. So that's that kind of tingly feeling you have on your skin. If you guys have had that before,
Yeah, if you got to claw your skin off and
and too much, too much is gonna give you that feeling, right? Of like I got ants crawling on my skin, which I don't really like. So we've got.
I do like it for the fact that like once I take it, I know I'm committed to working out, because that's the only way to get rid of it is like
you gotta get moving.
Is to be in the gym and working out.
So we've got 3 grams of that in our V2 that's launching in January. We've got 3.2 which is the clinical dose. So we'll have a little bit more of that, and that's just based off market feedback. They were like, "Hey, man, I'd really just wish you put the clinical dose in there." I'm like, "Yeah, that's great. We should do it." So we're doing 3.2 of that, and then this is really where this is another differentiator that we probably don't harp on enough. Is we have got an amazing blend for caffeine. So we do 200 milligrams of caffeine. We do 200 milligrams of L-theanine and 50 grams of green tea leaf extract. And so that combination just gives you a feeling that like you can't find from any other pre-workouts.
Right.
What it does is the caffeine obviously gives you a high, right? But it's kind of a quick one, right? And that's what you'll find with most pre-workouts is like I'll get amped up and then I crash. But what we do is we have that caffeine to give you a quick burst. And then what we have on the back end of that is your green tea leaf, which is going to level you out for a long lasting effect. And then in addition to that, we have L-theanine that really ties it all together. So you'll find L-theanine in a lot of like sleep aid supplements. Mm-hmm. And so it really helps the mind relax, kind of get into like a flow state, just kind of like in the zone, relax. Right. And so that combination right there is something I haven't seen in any other pre-workouts. And it gives you this amazing feeling of like, I feel great. It gets me amped up, but then I'm like just in the zone for like an extended period of time.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. Because I've got a teenager, he works out and he takes this stuff, but he never sleeps. I mean, he sleeps like 3 hours a night, I think, sometimes because he's just like, he's amped up, throughout the day.
And let's talk about, because a big point of differentiation for you too, and you looked at the market, you saw this was missing, I think, is what you did not put in it.
Yeah. So there's when you just pick up your average pre-workout and like look at the back label, there's probably somewhere between 15 to 20 ingredients. A lot of stuff you've never heard of before. And a lot of stuff is in proprietary blends, which is, they say, hey, we've got an energy blend. And they tell you what's in there, but not how much, right? And probably they don't tell you how much is in there because they don't know. They're just asking their manufacturer that, hey, we want this stuff in there. And the manufacturer will whip it up, right? So they have no idea what's actually in there. You have no idea what you're putting in your body. And so that was really important to us, was to make sure that it was natural, it was transparent. Because again, like as you start getting older as a dad, the weight goes on a little bit easier. You need to be watching what you put in your body and know what's going in there is much more important. So we just wanted to be as clear and transparent as we could be up front, let you know this is what's in there. This is what's not in there. And only 7 ingredients and you know exactly what's going in there. So it's non-proprietary. Like anybody could rip this formula off if they wanted to. And in my view is great. Go for it. Like,
what about DHMA? I mean, is that, I gotta ask.
Yes, that's the first ingredient.
You're pulling up the Liver King list of approved products.
Sold.
So yours is also, so it didn't have sucralose or that. What's your sweetener?
Sucralose? No. So we're switching up sweeteners. So we had erythritol for our first one, which is a little. It's good. It tastes good. But we got it to taste even better with our new manufacturer. So they used, let me look it up and I'll tell you exactly where it is because I don't want to speak out of turn.
And I think that's important as you're looking that up. Like that's becoming more and more important in the marketplace. And that's something that's changing in the marketplace is people not wanting these artificial sweeteners and these things like that. And and so many of them have that, especially the cheaper ones. And honestly, your price is like,
Yeah, I mean, we should probably charge more. To be honest with you,
you don't need to do that. You don't need to. No, you could probably go $10 more. I bet with your.
I mean, just because you have the creatine in there, right? I'll tell you exactly what the sweetener is. So we had erythritol and stevia, sweetly stevia, for the first one, and with the new manufacturer, we had it done with sucralose as well, just to do like the comparison. And it was like night and day. I was like, oh my God, this tastes amazing with sucralose in it. But I was like,
but it's not as good. Yeah. Sucralose isn't great for you. Right?
Well, they've tied sucralose now to,
there's all kinds of studies coming out.
Yeah. There's all kinds of studies, gut health and depression and things like that sucralose could be a big part of the anxiety and depression that we're seeing surging in the country right now. So.
Yeah, so it's really important to us to stay natural. So we've got stevia leaf extract for this one. So stay with stevia. We're taking out the erythritol. Again, it was good, but there was a lot of it in there to try to get the effect that we wanted with flavor. And so we feel like we can do, almost a better flavor with just stevia. And then we've also found a way to naturally color it as well with spirulina extract, which is kind of cool because right now it's just kind of a opaque color, which is like do people really care about it? Probably not, but it's kind of cool when it's like a blueberry and you put it in, it's blue. It's kind of cool. So we can do it naturally. So we're doing that on the next run as well.
Yeah,
nice, very nice.
Stevia is not that bad.
No, stevia's pretty. I mean, it's a plant, so it's a little more.
Yeah.
And we've got it.
I like xylitol, but too much xylitol, you know what that does for you. I mean, you're just like you got some issues. You got some intestinal issues, especially when you put in your coffee in the morning. Too much of it, I can tell you from experience. But no, I love it, man. So I mean, what's in terms of like a subscription? What people get on like a month to month? Is it a monthly subscription?
Yeah, just monthly subscription. Like as we go into launching the version 2, I definitely need to take a closer look to like what our website looks
crank
like.
Those prices up, man.
Like what our website looks like. One, from just like a design perspective. Two, from a copy perspective. Again, like we haven't been like pushing it a lot, right? And I know there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. To one, call out like what are the benefits and what's the differentiators that we have in our product, other than just like C4 that you find on the shelves. So we need to call that out a lot better. We need to honestly just do a lot better on the website.
Yeah. No,
I think you're doing a lot of
man. Yeah, I love where you're at. I mean, this is
for sure.
The research that you put into this, it's amazing. I mean, and the fact that you include all the ingredients that you need, including the creatine, which if people don't understand, if you buy creatine by itself,
I mean, $40 bucks, $50.
And it's depending on the brands that you get, you pay a lot more for that. And the guy
Transparent Labs, I think, is like
charge you like
$74 or something for an ounce.
Yeah, he's easily going to mark that up for, to like $80 a little canister, and he's going to say, if you buy 3, then I'll give you a little discount or whatever. But
yeah, I mean, I buy like the 2.5 pound bag of creatine, probably like you bought to do your test with. And I did the same thing with glutamine. In the cabinet. But the more I can find supplements that have everything built in, it solves a problem in my life. It's instead of opening 3 bags to make my smoothie or pre-workout drink, it's one scoop. I mean, that's what you're doing, and that's what I really appreciate. And I really appreciate the brand and the all that kind of stuff.
Are you guys doing paid advertising, or is it mostly just
so
free social media?
We've dabbled with a little bit just to kind of test and see does this work or not. I was talking with Sean a while back just about what we're thinking about doing, but I just don't know if we have enough to bring to the table yet. Is a free plus shipping ad to where we'll give you 3 sample packs, you pay the shipping. And then we upsell to a subscription there. But I feel like we got to have a much higher average cart value to make that, break it. We'll probably lose money, but to get it close to break even to where we can bank on subscriptions. And I just don't think we're quite there yet. So we may run some baseline testing once we get the new version in, which has updated labels. It's got a great look to it, kind of a new branding to it, which looks phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a second. So let's do you mind if we move into troubleshooting and
let's go for it.
Generation and brainstorming a little bit?
Let's go for it.
Let's say you were to do the sample pack, which I think is a kind of a cool idea. We know you're not going to get an average cart value. I've told you based on companies I've worked with and friends I have, and other people in the tribe and just other places that I've worked with. It seems like $50-$60 is kind of the standard break even on cart value. Like that just seems to be where it's at. Across, if you average it out across different industries.
Right.
So I think you could do this free for less shipping, but I think maybe because your brand is, I think, very strong, is maybe like your upsells or t-shirts and some of the gear that you have. Because I think the gear portion of your business could be very, very big, maybe even bigger than the supplements themselves.
Yeah, and that's something I struggle with too. Like when we first started out, we went directly to a manufacturer, ordered a bunch of t-shirts, and have them, stock. And like, that's hard to get out in front of it too, right? Because you
Yeah.
never know what you're going to sell, what you're not, right? And so I've still got some t-shirts that are just like sitting down there. And so what we started to do is do print on demand t-shirts. And I agree with you. I think there's a big market there. Yeah, there you go. So I've transitioned all of it. So the ones with me with actual pictures is like the stock stuff. And then the one of those are
These are like
direct-
print on demand.
yeah. And so what I'd like to do is like, we can still leverage the print on demand, but I feel like I just need to get like great pictures of those, and not just like the stock picture. And then we can start running some stuff on that too.
Yeah, I think offering those as a upsell on your sample pack could be really, really strong.
Okay.
All right. So I know you need to jump in a few minutes, Drew. So what questions do you have that maybe Jonathan and I can help you with? I mean, you're in the trenches, so we're totally just throwing stuff out because we don't actually know what your business is like. But hey, we got 3 brains here. 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 1 + 1 is, well, it's still 3 in this group. But maybe we can help.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, once we get inventory in, I want to start running fairly aggressively, right?
Okay.
On advertising, whether that be on Amazon, on social media, driving directly to our site. I'd love to know kind of what do you guys think would work in an advertising setting, knowing our brand, knowing that we like humor, things like that, right? Like that would drive to an initial opt-in, and whether that's an opt-in to purchase or that's an opt-in just to our brand, and then we drive them to a purchase, at some point in time. I'd love to know just kind of like the goal for me, right, is we've got a good foundation. We want to start scaling this thing. Like, how do we do that?
Yeah.
So the first thing that came to my mind was when I was at Funnel Hacking Live this year, there was one of the speakers was Kristen Morelli. And she does these just really wild, almost like the Harmon Brothers style ads.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with those, but she does them all herself.
So it's hilarious you brought that up.
Yeah.
I have a script written.
I think because you're willing to play that card. I think that's going to be one of your quickest ways to success with the ads is to be a little bit silly. In fact, I posted on Instagram today on my coaching stuff. I was like, at the end of your life, silly will have a better ROI than serious.
Yeah.
So we'll see if anybody agrees with that. But I think that's kind of where the market is at right now too. Just in general, I think people appreciate self-deprecating humor and humor in brands. I think Old Spice kind of paved the way for that in the last 5 or 10 years. To really just kind of, and Poopery and some of those brands. But I think a Kristen Morelli style ad just can't be created right in your backyard or at your local gym, or you got a garage gym. So
local gym, yeah. I'm gonna read the ad.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
because I've literally had the script written out.
Let's hear it.
We're just trying to figure out. Okay, should we buy just like a 4K camera and do it ourselves, or should we hire somebody for the day to do it?
I would start with your iPhone 14 or whatever the highest version of your iPhone is.
Okay.
Maybe a lapel mic, hidden.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even hire anybody until you at least do a test, and then you could upgrade it after that. Because I've seen too many times in my copywriting career where you
spend way too much money, it doesn't work.
Yeah, or even like it works as an amateur level, and then you bring in the pros, and
it takes away
whatever reason, like it loses some of the virality of it, and it just. But sometimes it's the opposite. Like sometimes the extra audio quality or the extra video quality does work. So you really have to test. But let's hear your script.
Yeah. So I watched a ton of Harmon Brothers videos. I watched the Jeremy's Razors videos, and I wrote down commonalities. Of like, okay, what are they doing? What are they doing? So I wrote down the script. I pull up to the gym in a big truck, probably with an American flag on it.
Oh yeah.
And I step out with Murphy, who's my son. He's 9 months. I step out of the driver's seat with him and a baby Bjorn on my chest, and a backwards hat, headphones on, cut off t-shirt, walking toward the gym with my gym bag. And then I have a couple options here of what I say to the camera. But I said, what's our big anti-culture statement? And I said, do you remember when the only thing toxic with masculinity was when there wasn't enough of it? Or I say, do you remember when dads used to look like more like GI Joes instead of hippy dippy woke princesses?
Nice.
I love that.
There's a couple others, and then basically walking towards the gym, and then like as I walk into the gym, I say, hey, I'm Drew, founder of the Epic Dad Company. We believe dads should do dad things, like provide, protect, and lead. All that stuff that's made this country the greatest country on the planet, America.
Yeah, right.
And then it just showed me doing like gym stuff, but still I have my son in the Bjorn the whole time.
Mhm.
And I say, but dads have been under attack in this country for the better part of 50 years. Big media, entertainment, and politicians have been trying to change dads from GI Joes into hippy dippy woke princesses. And as I'm doing this, I'm doing pull-ups and Murphy's on my chest, and all you can see is here up. And I'm doing pull-ups, and then it's one-handed, and then it's no hands.
Yeah,
hell yeah,
going up. And then it transitions back to the home, and I'm doing like dad things at home. I'm like washing the dishes, changing diapers, stuff. And I said, this has gotten to this point where we are now, where schools are teaching little Johnny that he can actually be little Susie. And then, something else that's anti-culture there.
Sure.
And then go to the next scene. I say, at the Epic Dad Company, we believe keeping America, to keep America from going down in flames, dads need to step up and lead. But to lead effectively, they got to take care of themselves first. And I said, like work out, eat right, set goals, stuff like that.
Right.
So that's where we come in. And then I say, it transitions like a hero shot of like me in front of our products, right?
Yeah.
And I say, hey, introducing the first ever natural supplements designed just for dads. Says, where do I go? Introducing our flagship Tedco pre-workout made with only 7 natural ingredients. And then I say, is Tedco pre going to turn you into the Rock? I don't know. Maybe not. But what I can say is you'll be better off using it and going to the gym than sitting at home on the couch downing a sleeve of Oreos. I said, listen, our country's in trouble. And the way to fix it is for us dads to step up and lead. So go buy Tedco, get in shape, be inspirational, and be an epic dad.
That's right.
I love it. Yeah, I think you should.
It's a little rough, right?
Yeah.
But that's like
that's good.
You'll figure it out as you go.
Inspirational. Yeah.
Find you a 13, 14-year-old in your neighborhood to help you film it and edit it.
Okay.
And I may run on YouTube first instead of Facebook, just because of some of the. I think they're a little more lenient right now.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to get banned for.
Right, exactly. YouTube right now is a little bit more lenient than Facebook as far as that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it kind of fits the format too, right? The video and that kind of stuff. And I think that's a pretty good hook that you could keep people for the 5 seconds, not to skip.
Yeah.
So I think I would try it on YouTube and then, send them to your cart page and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that's a really powerful way to go right now is just the humor. You're already doing it anyway, so it fits your brand. January's coming up. This is a good time to try it. Now, ad costs will be a little higher in January. But I think you could still, you do a 1, 3, and 5 pack on your sales page.
I would say, would you send them straight to a product page for pre-workout? Yeah.
Yep.
And then do upsell 3, 5. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, that's what continues.
And
to
raise
work.
your price, dude. Raise your
right.
freaking price, man.
Good.
Raise that bad boy. I mean, seriously. I mean, I would pay a lot more than 33. What do you got? 33
for subscription. Yeah. Yeah. It's
And I
like
think
15% off.
I think you'll hit some resistance.
I pay a lot more than that. I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah, I mean, retail is $44.99 is what we try to go for. I think I dropped it down a little bit to try to move some to sell through because we've still got some in inventory before the new ones come in. But $44.99 is and honestly, it should be $49.99.
Yeah, I think that's your first resistance. I don't think you'll hit any resistance until you hit $50, and then it'll be.
And I'm going to tell you something too. Is one thing that I've talked to Sean about this on the past because I'm a big subscriber to Athletic Greens.
Yeah.
And one of the things that attracted me back, because I left for a period of time, but what brought me back was the fact that there's a lot of dads out there that they're in the grind, they travel for a living. So if you can make these in individual packs.
Yeah. So I got those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we've got about 6,000 of these.
Sweet.
I just haven't. That's what I wanted to use for the free plus shipping, but I don't think we're quite there yet. So I might find a way to repurpose these into a travel pack and get some
Dude,
packaging.
if you
like
can do a
30
30-day
or 50
travel
yeah.
pack, like
Yeah.
I pay extra every month because I buy the bulk, but then I buy I pay extra for
Travel
the
packs,
30-day
yeah.
travel because I do a lot of traveling and I have to have those little packs.
Yeah,
you know,
and we
that I
can
can just
find
throw
a
in.
corrugated manufacturer, to put something together for
Yeah.
us on these easy.
Absolutely, dude.
Well, Drew, I know you got to run. You got basketball practice because you're.
I do, man. Got to be an epic dad. Get taken to practice.
So, where can
it's been fun.
Where would you prefer people buy from you? Either on your site or Amazon, or does it matter to you?
Wherever the checkout experience is better for you, to be honest with you. It doesn't matter to us. Whatever works for you.
All right. So that means you can find them at theepicdad.com.
Yeah.
Or you can go on Amazon and do a search for what's the best way to search in Amazon?
Yeah, just like Tedco pre-workout. Probably.
Tedco pre-workout on Amazon.
Yeah, it'll pop up there.
And go ahead and grab some stuff and I think support.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram. Awesome. That's where we're most active for sure. Shoot a DM. I'll respond to every single one. Sweet, give me some feedback.
All right, sounds good.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, we want to have you back on down in the future.
Yeah, I figure let's do six months from now. We'll have the second product launched and hopefully be well on our way. So
what will that be? Just a teaser. Do you know what that's?
So yes, I do. So it's going to be a hydration mix. Cool. So think of kind of elements, right? The LMNT. It's going to be again natural. Right now we've got 3 ingredients. So we just brought on our first sponsored athlete, which I'll tease it, but I'm not going to tell you who it is. But he's a really, really big like marathon endurance athlete. And so he's going to help us design like the perfect hydration mix. So this is something that you can do in those long workouts, et cetera. But it's also something that you can do first thing in the morning, which is what we preach a lot about is hydration. And so this would be a great thing to add into your routine of just, hey, I'm going to put this in my water every single morning. And so right now we have lemon extract, we've got Himalayan salt, we've got magnesium. That's it. We're probably going to add a little bit more, but as a base,
I take Relight every morning. Redmond, which is a Redmond salt brand, Relight. So I think, and that's blowing up like crazy right now. So I think that's a great second.
Yeah, it's hot, and that's what we preach on too. Like we've got a free challenge, the EpicDad 7-Day challenge, and we touch on hydration a lot there. And so like it'd be a great one to put into that sequence too, right? Of hey, we've got this hydration mix to help you out with that routine. And then plus, we've got one of the premier, marathon racers like in the country that's going to help us develop it too. So should be an awesome product. And I've got on my 6-month tracker that we want to have that up and running. So
awesome. Well, we'll keep in touch. Well, good luck. Have fun at basketball practice.
Take care, man.
And, Chicago Bulls. So
keep those 7 kids running around the house. Hopefully nobody's bleeding or anything.
Three of them are line.
Yeah. So hopefully nobody's bleeding in the last hour. But have a great day. We'll be in touch, Drew.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much for having
me on.
Thanks,
Drew. Take care, man.
Bye, guys.
See you. Yep. That's good stuff.
All right, man. Yeah.
You say Chicago Bulls? I mean, he's got a kid playing for the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah. All right. Drew, if you need to go, you can go and we'll catch up later. Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap up. And check out Drew's stuff at the Epic Dad Company or the epicdad.com, Epic Dad, Tedco pre-workout on Amazon, and give his stuff a try. Like I'm going to be ordering some myself because I like that there's no artificial junk in it. So
it's got everything in there, creatine, all the stuff. I mean, it's we have a pre-workout, we have creatine, and we have this stuff stacked. Like it's like a stockpile along the kitchen counter.
But I think the thing to pull away from this episode, if you're listening for marketing persuasion, is that he looked at the market, he saw some gaps that he would want filled, and he created a product that he thought would solve a problem that he saw out there in the marketplace.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's basically what entrepreneurship marketing is all about. Is solving those problems.
I think we should. I think a good show would be to revisit the, for us to revisit the Blue Ocean Strategy, that book.
Yeah,
it's a really good book, but it's all about creating those uncontested market areas of opportunity, for you to dip into. The whole premise. Blue Ocean is the areas where you're can we use it?
Yes.
Mm,
It's 2022.
absolutely.
If a woman wants to use Epic Dad, that's fine.
If your dog wants to use Epic Dad, I would.
Oh, my dog does not need a pre-workout. I tell you that. Good Lord. He's all over the place. Imagine the zoomies with that one.
But no, like I was saying, Blue Ocean Strategy, red oceans are those are bloody, man. That's blood in the water. They will eat you alive.
Yeah.
But if you can find, it's all about finding those blue ocean. So what has he found? He's found an area where he's got like, it seems like a little bit uncontested. I don't know enough about pre-workouts to know, but I don't see too many of them that have creatine, that have all
Not
the
that
ingredients.
Like,
and
my current pre-workout has probably like 150 grams of creatine, and I think that's
Right.
just so they can say it's in there. He's got
Right.
5,000 grams,
Right.
which is a full clinical dose, which I have to buy separately right now.
Yeah.
That I use on top of the pre-workout. So I'm literally,
Absolutely.
when I blend up my own pre-workout, it's got like 3 or 4 different things in it before I go work out.
Yeah.
So, and he was obviously having the same problem. He said, "Hey, I could create my own product," and
Absolutely.
he did. And I like also what he's doing with the branding. He's willing to be the face. He's got kids. He's, you watch his Instagram, you can see them when he's working out in the gym. They're in there with him. His girls the other day were roller skating around while he was doing his workout in the gym, in the garage gym.
Yeah.
And that's just, I think that's an authenticity people are looking for in today's marketplace.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I haven't seen his videos, but I would tell the story of him like working, it's a 9-month process, the fact that, you're testing this stuff. It's a 9-month deal where you're testing.
It's kind of like the hero's journey thing, right? Kind of
people
going and finding the magic elixir. You couldn't find it, so you created it. Like, buying.
That's right.
Spending thousands of dollars to find the right one, and it wasn't out there, so I created it. I mean, that's the classic, reluctant hero story. It works so well.
And consumers like us, we want to reward those people sometimes that have put in all that effort, that have done their due diligence and working, and if you tell that story, it's even more attractive, and you see those stories told time and time again on, you see the videos on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you find those of like, listen, here's what we've done. We saw a problem and we weren't happy with, what the market provided. So here's what we did. We worked on a solution and we came up with beer. Craft beer. No, I mean, it's a good story. I definitely, we should have him back on again. So
yeah, we definitely will. I'll keep in touch with him and we'll have him back on. So in the meantime though, if you work out and you're looking for a good workout, give Drew a shot, follow him.
Give some pre-workout.
Yeah. And
pour it in your water, pour in your beer.
Oof. I don't know if that would work. My beer did get a little bit better, by the way. It was good. Definitely had a little you could taste a little bit of that Four Roses flavor in it. So you probably like it.
I need to.
And I think Brooklyn, Brooklyn Brewery, it's one of my favorite breweries as far as a national brewery. They're the one that has that Christmassy dark chocolate every year that I brought on the last couple of years.
Yes.
And I almost bought it again, but then I saw this one. I was like, no, I'm going to go with the Black Ops just because we had 3 military guys on today. So
that's it. Perfect.
So yeah, it was good. So, all right. Well, I'll let you take us out.
To all of our listeners out there, you can find us at persuasionbythepint.com. You can find us on all of your podcast platforms, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, iHeart, you name it. Anywhere you can find a podcast, you're where fine podcasts are sold. You can check us out. Sean, it's been fun, man. We'll see you guys next week. Next week, we need to do a couple of episodes. We're getting closer and closer to that 300 mark. So I think we're
Sparta.
Yeah, I think this episode puts us at somewhere around getting close to 290. So this is 288, 290, 291. Yeah, around the first of the year, we're going to hit that 300 mark. So you guys stay with us. We're going to get there.
Yeah, we got big plans for that.
Exactly. probably some fireworks and lots of probably not beer, but some type of liquor and explosions along the way.
Yeah. Why be persuaded with beer when you can go all the way to liquor?
That's right. Exactly.
All right.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Sean, it's been fun. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
All right. That's cool, man.